everyone, Jess here from the Equipment Guide. Welcome to our updated review for the best two-person inflatable kayak in the United States for 2026. In this video, we're specifically looking at two-person inflatable kayaks best for American paddlers, whether you're paddling in lakes, slow rivers, reservoirs, or sheltered coastal waters. In this video, we'll share advice we'd give our best friend if they were in the market for a two-person inflatable kayak. We'll break down what you get for your money, and we'll show you a step-by-step how we ranked and scored this year's kayaks. As always, we've included convertible 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 person models where they genuinely work well. Today you'll see these kayaks paddled in calm waters, but we've also tested them with crosswinds, boat wake, and light chop to reflect typical US lake and coastal conditions. So, what advice do we give our friends and family when they ask us about which two-person inflatable kayaks they should buy? The big question: how did two-person inflatable kayaks actually perform? Higher-end two-person kayaks paddle exceptionally well. In fact, in certain conditions, high-quality inflatables can outperform many entry-level hardshell tandems in tracking and glide. Budget models tend to feel slower, wander off course more easily, and become much more sluggish when they're fully loaded with 2 adults and gear. This is mainly due to hull shape and material rigidity, which have a significant impact on hydrodynamics. So what hull shapes should I look at for a tandem kayak? Everything we say about single-person hull design applies here, but in a tandem, efficiency matters even more because you're moving more weight. Budget models, usually with I-beam floors, are often flat-bottomed with large side tubes and blunt bows. They feel stable, but because they push against rather than cut through the water, take more effort to move in a straight line. A drop stitch floor with side tubes is a significant upgrade. It increases rigidity and improves glide. It's also a good option if stability is a priority. Full drop stitch bathtub hulls are now common in serious touring tandems. They provide better cut-through and improved energy transfer, but can be much less stable because once upset, they naturally want to turn onto the next flat surface. Narrow V-shaped drop stitch hulls enhance speed and tracking, but feel unstable in crosswinds or when paddlers aren't in sync, something worth considering on open lakes. The final category is curved or tensioned drop stitch hull panels, which is more efficient to paddle and stable. These come closest to replicating a hard shell feel while retaining inflatable portability. Understanding hull shape and stiffness is important because they're the biggest determinants for performance on the water. Another question we get asked is, what materials should I look for? Materials determine stiffness, durability, and play a critical role in performance, comfort, and ease of use. There are 3 main categories. Single-layer vinyl is light and inexpensive, but more prone to abrasion or puncture. It's not capable of holding high pressure, it can't get the level of stiffness needed to glide over the water, and it can feel like you're fighting to paddle because you're pushing against the water. Fabric-covered designs. These often use internal bladders. They're less prone to puncture and slightly more rigid, but fabric absorbs water and takes longer to dry. They can also introduce more drag when paddling, depending on the design. Reinforced PVC uses high denier PVC around a woven core for better abrasion and puncture resistance. It moves smoothly through the water and is quick to dry. It also allows for high-pressure drop stitch construction. Drop stitch is many thousands of threads holding together 2 outside surfaces, so the internal pressure creates a rigid surface. This is a key material in creating inflatable kayaks that are as close as possible to the firmness of hardshells. Standard kayak drop stitch was previously around 3 inches thick, but thinner high-pressure chambers of just around 2 inches can now achieve rigidity comparable to thicker designs, reducing weight while increasing interior space. Next, will it puncture? Lower-cost tandems made from thin PVC are more vulnerable to puncture. Higher-end models often use reinforced PVC, similar to what's used in rescue crafts, which rarely puncture. Inflatable kayaks are also typically built with multiple air chambers, so if there's an issue, there's still plenty of buoyancy to get to shore. Also look for defined bow shaping or a rigid plastic molded bow and stern, which provide additional protection around these areas. Should I get a straight 2-person kayak or a 1 to 2 convertible kayak like these? Convertible 1 to 2-person kayaks can be a versatile option. Just make sure to consider the length of the kayak. You don't want it to be too hard to paddle solo or too short to comfortably fit 2 adults. For a convertible, the sweet spot in terms of length is usually around 14 to 16 feet. What about included paddles and pumps? Most bundled paddles are serviceable at best. A rigid paddle made of fiberglass or carbon fiber dramatically improves efficiency compared to a plastic blade. A quality rechargeable electric pump or dual-barreled hand pump that can push a high volume of air quickly reduces setup time significantly. So let's get to the specifics. We scored every kayak across 5 categories: performance, construction, portability, setup and pack down, and comfort. Full testing methodology and kayak specs are available on our website, theequipmentguide.com. At the end of each category, we'll display our rankings, so feel free to pause and take a closer look. Okay, so there's a lot that goes into comfort, like how spacious it is, how easy it is to paddle, and what kind of material you're sitting on, and most importantly, what the backrest is like. The best models we tested were the AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite, the Eagle Razorlite, and the Razor Kayaks R2 and Edge Pro 2. Those offered supportive seats, comfortable feeling materials, good legroom, and enough interior length for 2 adults without feeling cramped. Budget tandems, like the Intex models, felt too short and cramped for 2 full-size adults. Performance is the next category, and this is where the biggest gaps show. The Razor Edge Pro 2, AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite, and Eagle Razorlite were the top performers. The Edge Pro 2 were found to be both fast and maneuverable. The Convertible Elite was a little slower paced, but a nice shape for touring, while Razorlite got caught a little in the wind and was harder to turn, but still fast. So they were both 1 point off the lead. Lower-end tandems wandered off course under load and required frequent correction strokes, which became particularly noticeable in crosswinds on open lakes. Materials and build quality make all the difference. Premium brands like Sea Eagle, Razor Kayaks, Gumotex, and higher-end Aquamarina models use reinforced PVC or similar materials, and high-pressure drop-stitch hulls that feel rigid, durable, and relatively low maintenance. Advanced Elements generally uses layered fabric and internal bladders. These are durable and rigid, but are slower to dry. Other fabric-covered kayaks, like the Aquamarina Mamba, have the same issue. Lower-cost kayaks rely on thinner PVC and simpler construction, limiting rigidity and long-term durability. They're also often a shorter, wider, more dinghy-like shape, which makes them more difficult to paddle. In portability, we talk about weight, pack size, and how easy it is to carry. The lightest high-performance tandem in our testing was the Razor R2 Ultra. The Rush 2, Tahi Breeze, and the Aquamarina Steam are all also at the lighter end. On a whole, though, you can see in our graph that the big brands aren't that far apart. Something to be aware of is that lower weight isn't always better, as typically it comes from thinner materials, and we factor that into how we score this category. If a kayak is extremely lightweight, because it uses less durable materials, we don't consider it to be better. So long as you can comfortably carry the kayak and fit it where you want to fit it, a kayak with thicker material typically means better quality and durability. Larger carry bags can actually be helpful for easier repacking and to fit kayak accessories like paddles. Backpack straps are essential if carrying any kind of distance, from parking to water, or if it's on the heavier end of the scale, a bag with wheels can also be a good option. Setup and pack down relates to inflation time, drying, and storage. Models with fewer matching valves and PVC exteriors are quicker to set up and dry fast, making for quicker pack down. A greater number of valves will generally mean a longer, more complicated setup. This can result in a well-shaped kayak for on-water use, but you have to consider whether the longer setup time will discourage you from using the kayak as often. All right, the all-important budget question. There are always outliers, but at the time of our review, we broke things down into 3 main categories. The first price range is under $700. In this range, you're honestly going to find things that are not very well crafted or maybe made of cheaper materials and may ultimately puncture on you in the long run. If you only have this much to spend, you might be taking a bit of a gamble, and we'd suggest spending a little bit more if you can. The next level, we've got between $700 and $1,200. These mid-range kayaks often include drop-stitch floors and stronger materials. There can be a good balance of performance and value here if you know what to look for. Finally, over $1,200. Kayaks in this range generally provide great performance approaching the efficiency of hardshell kayaks. They're rigid, fast, great to paddle, and built for long-term use. So overall, here's our verdict. On our scoring graph, blue lines show overall ratings out of 100, and orange dots represent price. The Razor Kayaks Edge Pro 2 was the best tandem we reviewed overall. With its curved hull, we found it stable, efficient, easy to set up, and still very maneuverable, while being long enough for 2 adults. The Eagle Razorlite 2P followed, with solid straight-line tracking and touring performance. The Gumatex Rush 2 and Razor R2 Ultra also offered strong performance, but at very different price tiers. The AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite remains a capable touring-focused option, and the Eagle 385 FastTrack V bottom is notable for its stability and straight-line tracking. That's a complete breakdown of the best two-person inflatable kayaks in the United States right now. For detailed written reviews, side-by-side comparisons, and full testing notes, visit our website at theequipmentguide.com. If this video helped you, please subscribe and let us know where you paddled in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the water.